Okay, so let's start with this image. Imagine a classroom, right? But it's not like, and we know, every single child learning totally at their own speed in their own language.
Mm-hmm.
And they're guided by AI, an artificial intelligence system that doesn't just track scores, but actually like understands how they learn
Hmm.
individually.
Yeah, it's a powerful vision. And the thing is, it's not really science fiction anymore, is it? This is kind of the edge we're on right now in education.
Exactly.
We're shifting, I think, moving past that old factory model, standardized tests, everyone listening to the same lecture.
Right. The industrial era
Eh,
approach.
Yeah, exactly. We're moving into something defined by, well, intense personalization, radical personalization, really.
And that shift, that's what we're digging into today in this deep dive.
Mm.
Our main source material paints this picture so vividly. It kicks off with this scene in a remote village near Multan.
Oh, yeah, I remember that part.
There's this solar-powered tablet, just one device, and it's the kid's link to something called the Digital Future AI School.
Mm.
It's not just like a tech upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a whole new way of delivering education itself.
Absolutely. And the core of it, the real magic, is that customization. The source really nails this with the quote from that student, Aisha.
Yeah, tell us that one.
She says, and this is powerful, for the first time, school speaks my language and understands me.
Wow.
That phrase, understands me, that's everything, isn't it? That personal connection, understanding the language, the learner, that's what makes this whole AI model totally different from, well, anything we've seen before.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that vision properly then.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, we're focusing entirely on this new architecture for education, for human development too, really.
Yeah.
And we're leaning heavily on the insights from Mr. Zaheer Ahmad Meer, particularly his work, AI in Education, Schools of Tomorrow.
A really foundational text for this discussion.
Yeah, we're looking at how AI flips the script, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It shifts the focus from just what we teach, the curriculum content, to how we teach. And the potential impact that has on, well, human potential globally. It seems huge.
It is huge. And it's important to realize this isn't just someone dreaming things up. Mr. Meer, the source presents him not just as an author, but also as a constitutional and corporate lawyer.
Right. That's an interesting background.
And then crucially, he's the founder of that Digital Future AI School you mentioned. So you've got this blend of like the big picture vision, but also the corporate structure needed to actually build something like this.
So it's grounded in practical reality, not just theory?
Exactly. It's practical application meets structural thinking. It feels like a pretty comprehensive blueprint for making this change happen.
Okay, that makes sense. A solid framework supporting some really revolutionary mechanics. Let's jump into that first big piece then. The mechanics of personalized learning. AI is this like ultimate adaptive teacher.
Perfect place to start, because that adaptive learning system, that's the engine, really. It moves education away from that fixed roadmap idea.
Like everyone follows the same highway.
Right, and turns it into more of a dynamic GPS navigation system for learning, instead of just throwing content out there and testing later.
Yeah, the teach and test model.
The AI is constantly tracking, constantly analyzing how each student is doing in real time across lots of different measures.
And that dynamism, that's key, isn't it? It's not waiting for the end of chapter quiz.
Not at all.
It's looking at every little interaction, clicking, pausing, rereading.
Precisely. Think about it. You could have two kids, right? Student A struggles with visual stuff, but gets things fast if they read it. Student B, maybe they're the opposite, great with diagrams, but complex math problems trip them up.
Okay.
The AI spots these patterns instantly, where they slow down, where they speed up, maybe even the type of help they ask for. And it adjusts the difficulty, the format, maybe even the next topic. It happens like right away, within minutes.
That's incredible. But how far does that personalization go?
Yeah.
The source mentioned something really fascinating. Emotional analysis. Effective state detection.
Yeah, this is where it gets really, really interesting. It moves beyond just cognitive stuff like, did you get the answer right? Into the student's actual mindset, their feelings during learning.
Detecting frustration. How on earth does an AI read frustration?
Yeah.
What's it looking at?
Well, it's surprisingly detailed. It's not reading minds, obviously, but it's looking at a whole spectrum of digital behaviors, observable things.
Like what?
Okay, so think about subtle cues. How long between clicks? Are they hitting the backspace key a lot? How many times do they fail similar types of questions in a row? Even how fast they scroll through instructions or if they keep rereading the same paragraph.
Ah, okay. So patterns in their interaction.
Exactly. By analyzing all that data dynamically, the system picks up on those early warning signs. When someone's starting to get overwhelmed or just check out.
So it's not waiting for them to, like, give up entirely or get really upset.
Precisely. It steps in before that burnout happens. The whole point is to tweak the difficulty before frustration kills the motivation.
So what does it do if it detects that frustration?
It might immediately offer a simpler explanation, maybe using an analogy, or it could switch things up, maybe move from a dense text to a short, interactive video or a quick simulation.
And the opposite, if a student is flying through.
Then it ramps up the challenge, keeps them engaged, pushes them just enough. It prevents boredom, but also avoids that feeling of being totally overwhelmed. It sort of manages the pace for the learner.
Which for anyone, learning something tough is huge. That feeling of being overwhelmed can just shut you down.
Exactly. And this AI aims to keep you right in that sweet spot, that zone of productive challenge.
And speaking of making things work for the learner, this adaptability also tackles a massive issue: language barriers. That Multan village example, the child learning in their local dialect, that seems absolutely fundamental to this whole idea.
It really is foundational. Think about it historically. Where does the best educational material exist? Usually in a few dominant global languages, right? English, maybe Mandarin, Spanish.
Right. Which immediately puts anyone speaking a local dialect or a less common language at a disadvantage.
A huge disadvantage. But this AI system, it aims to just bypass that entire problem. It uses really sophisticated multilingual models, neural machine translation.
Okay.
But these aren't just like simple translators. They're trained not just on the big languages, but on local variations, dialects, even specific accents and grammatical quirks.
So it's not just translating, it's adapting the content culturally and linguistically.
Exactly.
Hmm.
It ensures that world-class material is delivered in a way that feels natural and understandable in truly local dialects, not just a clunky translation.
Which means the quality of education you receive isn't tied to where you live or what language your family speaks anymore.
That's the goal.
A kid in a really remote village, maybe with patchy internet, gets the same high-level stuff delivered effectively as a kid in, say, London or New York, but in their own language.
Yeah. That level of just baseline equity driven by the AI's mechanics, it's potentially revolutionary. It's about democratizing access to expertise, truly globally.
Okay, so the AI is this incredibly efficient, personalized teacher, which naturally leads to the big question everyone asks. What about the human teachers? Are they being replaced? Let's get into teacher empowerment, not replacement. The source argues this actually elevates the human role.
Yeah, the fear of displacement is totally understandable. It always comes up with automation.
Yeah.
But the perspective here is really about a significant shift in what teachers do, a reprioritization.
How so?
Well, the AI essentially absorbs the administrative drudgery, all those necessary but frankly time-consuming tasks that aren't directly about teaching insight or connecting with students.
You mean like grading papers?
Grading is the classic
Yeah.
example, yeah. Think about how many hours teachers spend marking.
Mm-hmm.
The AI can do that instantly. Attendance tracking, done. Generating detailed progress reports for parents or administrators, done. And critically, synthesizing all that complex data from the students' interactions.
Like figuring out why half the class struggled with question 5.
Exactly. Pulling together performance data from 30 kids across a dozen different metrics, that takes a human ages. The algorithm does it in seconds. Some studies suggest this kind of admin work eats up, 30, maybe 40% of a teacher's time.
Wow, that much. So if you take away that massive burden, what do teachers focus on? What's their new specialization?
They get to pivot completely towards the things humans are uniquely good at: creativity, mentorship, developing emotional intelligence, EQ.
Okay.
The AI handles the logistics, the data, the personalized pacing. The human teacher provides the context, the inspiration, the ethical compass. They can lead complex discussions, manage group dynamics, teach collaboration, empathy, things an algorithm just can't replicate.
So the AI deals with the what and the how fast, and the human deals with the why and the how does this connect to life?
That's a great way to put it. The source has this really sharp distinction. It's key to the whole ethical framework here. AI can teach faster, but only humans can teach values.
Right, that really cuts to the heart of it.
It does, because information transfer, speed, efficiency, those are things machines excel at. But developing a person, that requires moral grounding, empathy, cultural nuance, understanding context.
Yeah, you don't want just super smart kids with no moral compass.
Exactly. If we just create efficient information processors who can't reason ethically or work together, then the education system has failed, hasn't it? The human teacher becomes absolutely essential for instilling those values, for exploring real-world ethical dilemmas, for showing students how to use their knowledge for good.
So the AI delivers the facts, the human shapes the character, and helps find the purpose.
Perfectly said. It actually sounds like a much more rewarding job for the teacher, doesn't it? Moving from being a content delivery machine to a true mentor, an architect of character.
It really does. It leverages the best of both worlds. The machine's power and the human's wisdom and empathy. And that partnership, that synergy, points directly to the next big area. How this model tackles global inequity. Let's talk about bridging inequality and ensuring access.
Right. This is where the social justice potential really shines. For centuries, access to quality education has been tied to physical infrastructure, hasn't it? Good schools, reliable electricity, fast internet.
Yeah, if you lived outside a major city or in a country with poor infrastructure, you were often just out of luck.
Pretty much, your access was automatically limited. But this AI model, it kind of decouples education quality from physical location. That solar-powered tablet example again.
How does it work technically, though? Delivering sophisticated AI learning in places with, say, really weak or intermittent internet. You mentioned low bandwidth AI tutors.
Yeah, this is crucial. It's not about streaming constant high-def video lessons, which just wouldn't work in many places. The system is designed to be incredibly efficient with data.
Wow.
It uses optimized data protocols. It relies a lot on local caching, so it downloads chunks of lessons, maybe overnight or whenever a weak signal is available, and stores them on the device.
Oh, so it works offline a lot of the time.
A significant amount, yes. The core interactions are often text-based, or use highly compressed, short interactive elements, which keeps the data packets tiny. It's designed for asynchronous learning on minimal, even intermittent, like 2G or 3G connections.
Got it. So less like Netflix, more like a super smart compressed textbook that talks back.
Kind of, yeah. It bypasses the need for that massive, expensive physical infrastructure. Big school buildings, fiber optic cables everywhere. It delivers the quality directly to the student wherever they happen to be. It's about scaling quality education fast, where traditional methods would take decades.
And this focus on access isn't just about geography, right? The source also highlights benefits for special needs integration.
Absolutely. The personalization goes way beyond just learning pace. It adapts to physical and developmental needs, too. For kids with special needs, this can be life-changing.
How so? What kind of adaptations?
Think about specialized interfaces tailored precisely to what a child can do. We're talking about really accurate voice command systems for kids who can't easily type, gesture-based controls, even sophisticated eye-tracking interfaces for students with severe mobility challenges.
So instead of forcing the child to adapt to a standard keyboard or screen, the AI adapts the interface to the child's way of interacting.
Exactly. It makes education genuinely inclusive. It's not about giving every child the exact same thing. It's about giving every child a personalized way to engage effectively with high-quality learning material.
And the result, the source argues, is delivering a world-class standard of education to everyone, regardless of where they live or their physical ability.
That's the ambitious goal, yes. A universal standard of excellence.
Okay, but here's a thought. If the best curriculum, the core knowledge, becomes universally accessible through an algorithm, does that risk making the local human element, the teacher, less important? Does decentralizing the what dilute the need for deep local discussion and context?
That's a really important question, a necessary challenge, I think. And the risk is definitely there if the human teacher falls back into just being an administrator or a supervisor.
Right.
This model only really works, I think, if the human teacher fully embraces their new role, which is precisely to provide that deep, local, critical context. The AI delivers the world-class content, yes. But the teacher's job is to ask, how does this apply here? How does this relate to our community, our culture, our local economy?
So the AI handles the information, the teacher handles the meaning and application locally.
Exactly. The decentralization is only of the content delivery. The vital work of contextualization, of fostering critical thinking within a specific environment, that remains firmly, maybe even more importantly, in the hands of the local human educator.
Okay, that makes sense. It requires a shift in mindset for the teacher, too.
A big one.
Yeah.
Now, building on that foundation of personalized learning and access, let's look forward. How does this impact human development and career trajectory beyond just K-12 schooling?
Yeah, because we all know the problem. Students graduate with lots of knowledge, maybe, but it doesn't always connect to the actual job market. There's often a big gap.
A painful gap. Yeah. And the AI model described here aims to bridge that gap almost in real time. The source talks about AI-driven skills training that is constantly explicitly connecting what students are learning directly to digital jobs.
How? Like dynamically updating the curriculum.
Precisely. Because the system is networked and data-driven, it can react incredibly quickly to shifts in market demand. If, say, there's a sudden surge in demand for specific skills in green tech or a new programming language takes off.
The AI can adjust the relevant learning modules almost immediately, not wait for the next textbook revision cycle in 5 years.
Exactly. Weeks, maybe months, not years. It keeps the education economically relevant, immediately applicable.
Okay, that leads into another really interesting, maybe slightly sci-fi sounding concept from the source. Predictive career guidance. What does that actually mean? Is the AI telling kids what job they should do?
Huh. Well, not quite telling them. It's more sophisticated than that. Think of it as a superpowered guidance counselor. The AI is analyzing everything, the students' performance data across all subjects, identifying clear aptitudes, what they're naturally good at.
Okay, makes sense.
But crucially, it's also looking at their engagement patterns. Where do they spend extra time? What topics do they explore voluntarily? It's trying to identify genuine interest, maybe even passion, not just skill.
Right. Aptitude and interest.
Yes. Then it takes those individual profiles and cross-references them with massive data sets on market trends, both local and global. What skills are projected to be in demand in 5, 10, 15 years?
Wow. Okay, but hold on. If an algorithm is predicting pathways based on current data and trends, isn't there a huge risk of bias? Like reinforcing existing inequalities, or maybe pigeonholing a kid into a sensible path when their real passion is something totally unexpected, something the algorithm can't easily quantify.
That is the critical ethical challenge here, and that's why the source uses the term guidance, not assignment or mandate. The AI presents possibilities. It says, look, based on what you're good at, what you seem to enjoy, and what the world seems to need, here are some potential pathways that look promising. It provides data-backed options.
But the choice is still the student's and the teacher's role in that conversation.
Absolutely. The final choice, the space for that serendipity, that unexpected passion that remains entirely human. The AI provides sophisticated information to help students find purpose before graduation, as the source puts it. It combats that feeling of graduating cluelessly into the job market by giving them a much richer set of potential futures to consider way earlier than usual. The human teacher helps navigate those options.
Okay, so it informs purpose, it doesn't impose it. That's a key distinction.
A vital one. It reframes the entire educational journey, doesn't it? It's not just about passively absorbing facts anymore. It's about an intentional process of transformation, linking knowledge directly to application, to skills, to potential life purpose. It's aiming for that ultimate goal of, well, meaningful human development.
And that connection, knowledge to purpose, immediately brings up the ethical dimension, which feels incredibly important here. Let's talk about the ethical and cultural context. If AI is shaping learning this deeply, the values embedded in it are paramount.
Absolutely critical. You can't separate the how and what of learning from the why and the should.
The source really emphasizes this need for curricula that don't just build intellect, but also preserve identity and actively nurture morality. What does this idea of faith-centered AI curricula actually mean in practice?
Right. It's a concept that needs careful unpacking. It's presented as a way to counteract what could be a major downside of globalized digital learning. Homogenization, everyone getting the same culturally neutral, which often means Western-centric content.
Okay. So it's about avoiding erasing local culture.
Exactly. It's not about teaching religion instead of science. It's about grounding all the knowledge, whether it's coding, physics, history, whatever, within a specific ethical and cultural framework that resonates with the student's own community and identity.
Can you give an example? Like how would a faith-centered approach touch a lesson on, say, technology ethics?
Okay, so imagine a module on data privacy or AI bias. A standard curriculum might discuss GDPR or algorithmic fairness in general terms. A faith-centered approach, as described, might integrate that discussion with teachings from local religious or philosophical traditions about honesty, community responsibility, stewardship, or the inherent dignity of individuals. It connects the universal technical concept to specific, deeply held local values.
Or in history.
Instead of just a generic world history timeline, it might ensure that the contributions, perspectives, and specific historical narratives of the student's own culture or region are given significant weight and context. It's about ensuring the learning reinforces identity rather than making the student feel their background is irrelevant.
So it's about integrating values and identity into the learning, not keeping them separate.
Precisely. The goal is to nurture morality alongside intellect, ensuring the knowledge gained is woven into a strong ethical fabric and sense of belonging.
Which connects directly to that warning in the source. Digital learning must preserve identity, not erase it. That sounds like a really serious potential pitfall.
It's a huge risk. Think about the power of a standardized, globally distributed curriculum. If it's culturally blank or implicitly biased towards one culture, it could slowly erode local traditions, languages, values, moral frameworks, especially in communities without strong alternative sources of cultural transmission.
So this faith-centered idea is positioned as the necessary counterbalance, an intentional design choice.
Yes, exactly. To ensure learning empowers and preserves culture rather than dismantling it. The success of this whole AI education model in this view isn't just measured by test scores or job placements, but by the moral character and cultural confidence of the graduates.
It leads beautifully into that powerful closing phrase for this section from the source. When knowledge meets faith, learning becomes liberation.
That really captures the core philosophy, doesn't it? The idea that true potential, true freedom, is unlocked when you combine intellectual power and technical skill with a strong ethical compass and sense of identity.
Knowledge alone isn't enough. It needs grounding.
Exactly. Ungrounded knowledge can be dangerous, even destructive. Grounded knowledge, guided by values, becomes a tool for genuine empowerment, for positive change, for liberation.
Okay, we've covered the theory, the mechanics, the social impact, the ethics, but is this actually happening? Let's ground this in the real world with the specific example provided, the Digital Future AI School Initiative.
Right, moving from the blueprint to the building. This initiative, founded by Mr. Meer himself, seems to be the proof of concept. It shows this isn't just hypothetical, it's being implemented right now.
So what exactly is its mission? Who does it serve?
Its mission is laser-focused on tackling inequality at its roots. It provides free, high-quality AI-powered education specifically to underprivileged children across Pakistan.
Okay, free education for the underprivileged.
Yes, and with a very specific, very intentional emphasis on reaching young girls.
Ah, that's significant. Why the focus on girls?
Well, in many regions, girls face additional systemic barriers to accessing education, especially higher-level technical education. So the initiative directly confronts multiple layers of disparity at once: economic, geographic, technological, and gender-based.
So it's using this advanced AI technology not just for learning efficiency, but as a direct tool for social justice and female empowerment.
Absolutely. The source doesn't just call it a school, it frames it as a movement. And it highlights this blend of compassion with computation. That phrase really sticks.
Compassion with computation, I like that.
Yeah, it underlines that the tech is a means to a deeply humanistic end. It's about applying these powerful tools with empathy, driven by a goal of equity and social transformation, fully integrating those ethical principles we just discussed.
So this initiative, it's like a microcosm of the whole vision, isn't it? It brings together the personalized learning, the low bandwidth access for remote areas, the focus on equity, the ethical grounding, all happening simultaneously in the real world.
Exactly. It serves as powerful validation for the whole framework laid out in AI and Education, Schools of Tomorrow. It demonstrates that the transformative power of AI in education is truly unleashed when it's guided by compassion, aimed squarely at bridging divides, and committed to respecting local culture and values.
This has been incredibly illuminating, a really deep dive into what feels like the next chapter of education. Just to quickly recap the big takeaways for everyone listening. We saw how AI personalization goes way beyond just scores, using adaptive systems and even emotional analysis of effective state detection to tailor the learning journey minute by minute for each student.
Right, keeping them in that optimal learning zone.
Then, crucially, we saw this isn't about replacing teachers, it's about empowering them. AI takes over the admin load, freeing up humans to focus on the irreplaceable stuff: mentoring, creativity, fostering emotional intelligence, teaching values.
The human touch becomes more important, not less.
And finally, the commitment to access. Using clever tech like low-bandwidth tutors, culturally sensitive content, and specialized interfaces to bring truly world-class education to everyone, everywhere, especially remote, rural, and underprivileged communities. including those with special needs.
It's about breaking down those old barriers of geography and infrastructure.
Yeah. So if we pull back and look at the really big picture here, what's the ultimate takeaway?
Well, I think it suggests the education of tomorrow, maybe even today, is becoming less about just efficiently delivering facts and figures,
Right, information transfer.
and much more about creating a personalized, supportive, ethically grounded journey towards, well, towards wisdom, towards purpose, towards capability. The focus shifts from content access to personal growth and real-world readiness.
That's a profound shift. Which leads us to the final thought, really a question for you, the listener, to take away from this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
If AI systems become incredibly good at handling the information, the data analysis, the skills training, maybe even offering career path suggestions, what then becomes the most crucial human skill for you to cultivate in your own learning, in your work, in your life?
Yeah, what's left for us to uniquely master?
Exactly. What values will you prioritize to ensure that, as the source puts it, your knowledge meets faith or meets your core principles, so that your learning truly leads to liberation and meaningful contribution? That feels like the central question for all of us navigating this future.